Hello and welcome to another episode of Peteman Reviews. Keeping to our theme on the Night Warriors Combiner Wars Combaticons, we have the last of the five, Brawl. After this we'll then do another episode which will combine them all into Bruticus. So, Brawl, classic tank, yes? Well, yes indeed he is. He's kept a pretty decent colour scheme as well. I think it works well, all told. The gun, the foot gun, it's nice to see it in green, so that it does match the rest of Brawl's colour scheme, which is good, but you don't necessarily need it for the actual toy. And then onto the tank itself. I think the tank itself is pretty good. It's got some nice detail into it. The turret itself doesn't actually rotate, which is perhaps the only irritating part of it. No turret movement, and although the gun itself, if I put it back there, it's a bit easier to see. The gun itself does go up and down, which is quite good. But otherwise, there's not much to it. The tracks themselves don't move, but there are hidden beneath them. You might be able to see, there we are four little wheels, so it gives you can roll around. Brawl's actually a brand new mould, so he's not based on any previous toys. Obviously the Night Warriors version has the different colours, which is taken from the Combiner Wars, the standard Combiner Wars, but the standard Combiners one is a brand new mould. This might explain the presence or lack of presence of some detailing along here, though it's got some, and what there is works very well, particularly the little vents there. There's a lot more flat space. Not the front here is very good, but again, here see there's some flat space because I guess there's been a lot of expense in making the brand new mould, whereas someone like Swindle, as I've said in the previous review, as it was based on existing mould, you've got that time to do a little bit more tweaking to it. So I've said the actual barrel here pops up and down. The whole thing does actually pop off like so, and this then becomes a rifle for Brawl to hold when he's in robot mode. So we'll just pop that off, pop it to one side. Now let's transform him. I reckon it's going to end up something like that, don't you? This looks suspiciously like feet to me. Well, let's start. So we're just going to move the actual, the non-rotatable turret up like that. Give us the room. Pop the legs down. As you can see, it's got a hinge here, so it all pops down like so. Now, this is one of those toys, but again, fairly standard. You pull it, and it all pops down like that. If you pull it like that, you've pulled it too much. You just want to make sure that it pops in. Same on this side, pop it in. These are your feet. There's nothing to do with the feet. Well, you can do that, but there's really no need. They're kind of already in there. It just gives you a little bit more flexibility if you wanted to. Same deal here. These are more for Bruticus mode. Okay, so we're not quite finished with this bit, but we'll come back to that later. Get the arms out of the way first. So the arms come up like this, pops down like that, and there are the hands, as you can see in there. Same on here. Pop that, arm comes out. That's the hand there. So you've got the head here, like so. So what we are going to end up with is our figure. Okay, so you might be wondering what's happened to his waist. Well, this is actually a design flaw, really, in the way they produce Brawl. In that he has a chest, he has legs, he has a waist, but he has no stomach. Hey, he's a tough guy. His stomach's flat as anything, so flat as non-existent. You can, with the Night Warriors variant at least, and probably with the more recent variants as well, keep everything together. So there's a slight tab there. It doesn't really tab in. It kind of rests like that. So at least things don't fall apart. But yeah, it's kind of an odd arrangement to end up with. And then he just holds the gun, like so. So, let's have a look at the end figure then. Well, nice detailing on the head. And I also quite like the way how the rear of the turret makes him look like he's wearing a bit of a jetpack. So I think that works pretty well too. If we just go onto the chest, I don't know how well you can see that, but you see on the left and right of the chest, so just here and here, you end up with what look like little guns attached. They might be headlights, but they could look like little guns as well. The waist is a bit of a mess. The soft stomach's a bit of a mess, which is a bit unfortunate because otherwise it's a pretty decent character. It has more compromises perhaps than most. Similar, I guess, to Blast Off in that you've got obvious elements of their previous existence. So Blast Off, obvious blasters here from the booster elements from the space shuttle. Brawler's got obvious tank treads here, which there's nowhere to hide in robot mode. Which, zoom out a bit there so you can see what I'm doing, do limit his arm movements a bit in that it kind of hits his head. Because you can fiddle around with them a bit, but he can't ever move up. And because it's quite a low joint here as well, it kind of is the opposite to what you'd expect. You'd expect the forearms to be longer than the upper arms. Brawl's very much the vice the other way round for that. But all in all, it's a pretty decent toy. So you've got a good range of movement, if not as much as some of the others. And it's very reminiscent of the original character as well, which works too. The gun looks a little bit odd in that it kind of goes up and then down. Again, that's the difference with it being the gun barrel. So it's trying to serve two purposes. But you know, it's better than not having any weapon or having to rely on the Combiner Wars weapon. So he does at least have something that he can use in his own right. And it has to be said, of all of them, that hides away the most in his alt mode. I know Onslaught has got the two big guns, but he doesn't have anywhere to hold them, or if he does hold them in robot mode, he doesn't have any guns on his back. So Brawl does have the weapon that hides away the best for that. Not the best of the Combaticons, indeed the Unite Warriors Combaticons. But, you know, I have to give Hasbro credit here. They've gone to the effort of making a new mould. So rarely does that seem to happen nowadays. They just make variants of the same mould. But nice to see they made the effort here. And I think it works okay. I say there's a few design flaws with it. But it is still, you know, of all the Brawls out there, it's probably the best one. When you think of the original one, it's quite similar how it looks with the original one, but far more manoeuvrable and far more accurate than the original ever was. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next review where we will show you the Unite Warriors version of Bruticus. Thank you. Goodbye.